Hello, welcome to Skye Sweaty Record Review. Number 25, I think. Who cares? Silver anniversary. It's the only new music review record show on YouTube hosted by a French professor who just got off an elliptical. I'm sure there'll be another one someday, but then I'll say I was the first. Do you guys remember the 90s? I do. I remember the 90s. There was a lot of great music that was made back then. I think about it often as sort of the apex of the American empire, sort of a lot of really great culture, a lot of optimism compared to the decade that would follow. And when I was going through the new records that came out this week, that came out yesterday, I'm recording this on a Saturday, I noticed that there was two that instantly kind of connected me to the mid to late 90s. Swizz Beats and The Prodigy. Two very influential artists whose mark can still be heard today, and two artists where I just sort of said, can they still do it? Are they still relevant? Can they thrive? So the answer is yes. I have not enjoyed albums that I've listened to so much the entire time I've been recording this show. This is the best first reaction I felt to anything, and it's two on the same day. So let me start off with Swizz Beats. For those of you who don't know, Swizz Beats is a hip-hop producer. He was really huge in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s. If you've ever heard a song by DMX, he probably produced it. By the Rough Riders, he probably produced it. By Eve, he probably produced it. As well as other songs for other famous artists, like Jay-Z. He had a trademark of, on his songs, just saying in the background, "God damn!" which is kind of a cool trademark. And the thing was, I remember hearing him for the first time and saying, what's going on with these beats? They're really tinny. Like, it had this kind of tinny, sparse feel, almost like unfinished, with kind of tinkly, unpracticed piano. And really, if you listen, I believe, if you listen to modern hip hop now, especially pop hip hop, all this trap stuff, it couldn't have existed without Swizz Beats laying the groundwork of this really sparse, almost empty sounding hip hop beats. So that's who Swizz Beats is. So what is his album going to be? It's called Poison, which is not the Belle Biv DeVoe song. And the cover has this really uncomfortable image of sort of like a home invasion of like black men attacking rich white homes, and it's very unsettling, which I thought was great. It's announcing something important. The other Swizz Beats album covers are just pictures of him with his sunglasses on. The intro starts and it's really moody and it's classical strings. And that's where it was becoming clear to me that he was actually trying to move forward. In this album, he does go back to traditional Swizz Beats sounds on a couple tracks. So towards the end, the last song, Swizz Montana, that's like absolutely vintage Swizz Beats. If you want to just go back to the 90s and hear that same thing, listen to the song Swizz Montana. It's uneven, disjointed, kind of crazy. Similar, the song right before that, a song called Stunt, has that same familiar feel. But what makes this such a great album is that he doesn't stay there. He actually moves things forward. In particular on the track, which may be the best track I've heard all year. The absolute stamp of the year so far. It's a track called Cold Blooded. And this is with Pusha-T, who's a rapper that I like a lot, who almost always only raps about selling drugs, which is not that interesting, but he does it better than most. But this track is not about that. It's called Cold Blooded, and it's a hip-hop track with no drum beat. It's just like this kind of jazzy bass. There's a couple songs with jazz influence, another song with Nas on here. But this one with Pusha T, it starts off, and the line that Swizz Beats says is, "Your neck soft, put a knife to it." And that's a lot of what this album feels like. Like, you have kind of like a soft neck with a knife to it. It's not cutting your throat, but it's giving you that little uneasy feeling. And this track, even though it's a nice, soft, jazzy bass and piano, an amazing loop, the lyrics are unbelievable. It's all Pusha T trying to meditate on the destruction of the inner city in America. He keeps on repeating the same expression over and over again. Bodega babies, over and over again. He says, "I wonder why, you wonder why these kids in the 90s are crazy. Bodega babies. Broken black homes is the new slavery. How long do I have to scream before you save me?" moving lyrics. I'm actually, I actually am getting chills. It's cold in here. That's really cheesy, but I'm actually getting them, so I think I get a pass. So I would say Cold Blooded by Swizz Beats, unexpected. I thought that this was going to be an album of just Swizz Beats getting other rappers to come on. I mean, he has a track with Kendrick Lamar and the Locks, and it's kind of like, hey, remember me? And it's good. Like, the whole album is solid. But this one track just jumps out of everything else. An amazing, socially conscious, non-pedantic, produced way ahead. I mean, just way ahead. I mean, no drum beat. Okay, so that's my review of Swizz Beats' Poison. Just an amazing, excellent album that's a nice mixture of what you love of Swizz Beats, and then an indication that maybe there was more to him than we thought. Then we get to the Prodigy. So, if you don't know the Prodigy is one of the best examples, I would say, along with the Chemical Brothers, of a kind of techno music in the 90s. Now, I don't know all of the terms. I believe the term is big beat. At least that's how you feel. Just lots of really large sounding drums and nice hooks and high energy. The name of this album is called No Tourists, which is a good name. And you probably know them from songs like, Fire Starter, or we'll just leave it with that. If you don't know the Prodigy, you should listen to particularly their album Fat of the Land. Fat of the Land, which I would say is one of the best albums of the decade, of the 90s. Every track is just amazing, really well produced, upbeat, and engaging. I would say that this new album is not as good. I don't think it's as good as Fat of the Land, but it's amazingly good. It's an awesome album. If you take an example, the first song, that'll be my exemplary tune, called Need Someone. It's got the attacking synthesizers that they're known for, gigantic drum beats that get you pumped, nice slow sections that build anticipation. And the thing is, a lot of electronic artists, they build anticipation by doing that, fourths, eighths, sixteenths, to get you hyped up for the break. They don't need to do that. They just play with dynamics, lower things up, bring in big funky beats with some nice house vocals in the back. That's a great example of why this album is wonderful. It really does feel like 1997 again. But, I talk so much about that, about nostalgia and moving forward, but I don't think there was enough of that music made. I mean, the Chemical Brothers made a couple great albums, and then they started experimenting and moving away from that sound. And even the Prodigy, I feel like, didn't make enough albums in that vein of just music where you put it on, and I was on the elliptical, and I almost broke the damn thing, because I got so pumped up with these big beats and these attacking synths. So basically every track, if you don't like that style, don't listen to it. But this is sort of like, I'm going to call my brother later today, who, grew up in the 90s too and loves techno music and loves all that stuff. I'm just going to tell him, like, Amos, you've got to get this. They have an interesting idea with a song called We Live Forever, which has the sort of rising aggressive synthesizers. And then the next song is No Tourists with sort of a descending. I don't know if that was intentional. There's sort of like a little bit of everything that you might like from the Prodigy. So there's like a song called Fight Fire with Fire, which uses an entire section, like 2 lines of a sort of a kind of rapped verse as the hook, which is kind of an old Prodigy trick. The song Champions of London is trying a little too hard to go back to that old style of like, da, 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 kind of like super British angry guy screaming at you in the street vibe. But then, unexpectedly, both of these albums, by the way, are 10 tracks, which is cool, so 20 total tracks. It's a song called Boom Boom Tap, and that gets my stamp of approval as well. Boom Boom Tap is like this song where you hear this voice, and it just says, boom, boom, tap, boom, boom, tap, bang, bang, boom, or something. I don't know what the other one is. And as they say boom, boom, tap, eventually it becomes more and more instruments come in on it. So, boom, boom, tap. And then the next time they do it, it comes in with the drums. And the next time it comes in this crazy, like, Hudson Mohawk-y synthesizer. Yeah, like the horn section, dun, da, da, dun, dun, da, da, dun, dun. Now, I call it Hudson Mohawk-y, but I don't think Hudson Mohawk or any kind of like dubstep, super awesome, punky, heavy metal style techno would exist without the Prodigy anyway. So I wouldn't really call it derivative. But this boom boom tap song just gets you going. You're stomping, and the beat keeps going, and you keep singing along, and it's kind of funny. It's just great. So that's my review of these two albums. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I've already thought of my 3-word review for both of these. I thought of it basically from the first 2 tracks I heard of each of them. I was so like relieved and happy. These have never been my favorite artists. They were not my favorite artists in the 90s, but they're still surviving and thriving. Damn it, I just said all the words that I put in my 3-word thing in the previous sentence. You see, Skye? This is why you need a script. I don't have a script. I have notes. So my 3-word review is thriving 90s survivors. That's what we've got here. I would listen to both albums. If you like big beat techno, or if you like hip hop, these are both great albums. Even if you don't, I would say listen to Cold Blooded by Swizz Beats and Boom Boom Tap by The Prodigy. Okay, a little bit of exciting news. The next video you see is going to be featuring somebody else. It's going to be featuring Goat. And it's going to be a review of a single, not an entire album. I'll still be sweaty, but I'm going to have a co-host. So look forward to meeting Goat. Oh, for the trivia, they were Minions headphones. I got them for my daughter. They were on sale, only $9. You know, she didn't really want Minions headphones, but they were cheap. So, okay. Until the next time, I don't have a catchphrase. Except for where's the camera? There it is. It's a really lame catchphrase. You know what? I like it. And that's Skye saying, where's the camera?